Okay, Mr. Chairman, you're live.
Okay, call the meeting to order. Thank everyone for coming in on a Friday. Don't tell anybody that we're available on Fridays. We felt the urgency on this fuel system. Before we get started, is there any comment from the public?
I have something, Adam.
Okay.
Okay, Bob Frank Plumley, who lives in Great Falls part-time, and he lives in Lincoln the majority of the time. Anyway, they sold their 172, and they're having a gyrocopter built. But he said during this time, they don't have anything in there unless somebody comes to Lincoln and needs an overnight or whatever place to park their plane. He said if anybody needs a place to park their plane and wants it inside during that construction, he would be available for that. And no set fee, you just make a donation to the Airport Foundation, which supports the courtesy car. So, as long as we have that on record, that's all that's necessary.
Nice. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, so we, as everyone knows, we called this because we don't have any fuel available at the airport. Our fuel master is down again. Dwight is on the phone here with us. Cole with Energy Systems is going to call in. The long and short of it is I think everybody here knows, but I'll say it for the record. The fuel master system has been giving us nothing but grief. Last time we had it worked on, it was, I can't remember, $2,700. We're down again, and we've been talking about this for some time, how it's going to bite us, and we are currently being bit. So, for example, I was just out at the airport this morning, and there was, just in the few minutes that I was looking, there was 3 different airplanes looking for fuel. One guy did not have enough fuel to get to Helena, so I was able to get the key and sold him some fuel manually. But anyway, it's killing our sales. We're becoming known as a unreliable place to get fuel, which affects fuel sales, and it's a disservice to the public, which is the whole point of having fuel in the first place. So I have been talking to Cole at Energy Systems. He gave us 2 quotes that I emailed to everyone for the QT pods and the Petrovend. I wish we had more quotes, more options available, but I haven't been able to get any. Bob, have you had any quotes?
Nope, and I'll wait till this meeting's over, and I will call the guy in Billings and tell him, forget it, if, you know.
And I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, if we're being treated that way, back burner, before they make the sale,
Yeah,
how are we going to be treated going forward? So,
typical fuel master.
yeah, yep. So I don't have the quotes printed out. I did email them. The long and short of it is the QT pod. Now, to clarify, we're keeping the fuel pump, the same handle, hose, all that stuff. The only thing we're changing is the little tower that has the card reader on it, the Fuel Master tower. So we have 2 options in front of us now. The QT pod is $24,000. I'm speaking in round numbers here. And it's $1,200 a year for the subscription to their service. And what that entails is it's an online cloud-based system where you can change the fuel price from anywhere. That $1,200 covers any updates or, programming and whatnot. I am not completely clear if it also includes repairs. I would suspect that wouldn't be an issue for some time.
Some form of warranty.
You would think there'd be some kind of warranty.
I would think so. It's all Microsoft equipment.
So as we're going through this, waiting for Cole, I'm going to make notes on questions we have for him. So let's put warranty down. I think there's higher subscriptions you can buy that do include all service and whatnot, and we can look at the details of those. But really what we need today is a decision on buying a system, and I think we can work out any details later. Bob had mentioned that he spoke to someone in Missoula or whatever it was.
At the aviation conference.
that we may be able to, through City Service Valcon, get that tower at wholesale. Does
Wholesale.
that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a couple $1,000s savings, but we don't know that. That may not be available through Energy Systems that's gonna install it. I don't know, but we'll obviously pursue that, but, so that's regarding the QT pod. Did he also say that included the Petrobend?
No, that's first I heard about the Petrobras.
Okay,
What he did say is if city service didn't want to go that route, to get a hold of him, and I do have a copy of that card coming back for you, Adam.
Mhm.
Anyway, he said that it was World Fuel Services, and I believe the two places in Montana, one of them is Bozeman, where they're delivering fuel.
okay,
So that's why they were at the aviation conference.
okay. Okay, so to review the QT pod, 24 grand for the hardware and installation. It's $1,200 a month to keep it, I'm
Per
sorry,
year.
that was bad.
Yeah.
$1,200 a year to keep it going, and we also have to get a cellular service, which is probably for $40 a month or $480 a year,
Which will be probably less than the phone bill.
which will be less than the phone bill. I can't remember what the phone bill is, $60 or something a month,
Yeah, it's at least that, I'll bet you.
but that'll be eliminated. There's other options for connecting it. You can do Wi-Fi, which he did not recommend. You can do a point-to-point antenna. I can't remember, do we have internet service at the lobby?
I think so.
We do?
We do.
Don't we have, for the cameras?
Yeah,
Is that
that's where
what,
our cameras run off
Yeah.
of.
Mm-hmm.
okay,
And I think one of the reasons we put the internet in too was to run the fuel system.
For the fuel system, that's correct.
If we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so that's an option because
So you
for
may
like
not need the
$100,
cellular.
you can buy these two antennas and then we go off of Wi-Fi and then that,
Is
Not
there a
Wi-Fi, but,
backup default? Like if you did choose the antennas, can it click over to a Wi-Fi if possible?
I don't know. We could ask
Do we
that.
know how reliable the cameras have been with the Wi-Fi?
Every time I've ever looked, they're 100%.
Yeah, us too.
I've never seen a problem, but that doesn't mean there wasn't.
Right, I mean, nobody's aware of one, but if, it's reliable, then,
Who's our internet provider at the lobby?
I think it's Montana Internet.
Is that a microwave-based system,
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Right off the hill up here.
which is supposed to be 99.9% or
This
something?
is really gonna be similar to the point antennas they have, that's a microwave system
Oh.
as well.
Okay.
Just
Well,
a little-
Again, we can make that call when we go to it. Again, Energy Systems said cellular is probably the best and easiest and most reliable, and you don't have, there's less points of failure, But we can cross that bridge when we get there. I think that's all on the QT pod. So the second option was Petro, and also the QT pod, the lead time should be about 1 week. So I talked to the manufacturer at QT pods and they said they're a week out. Unless you're down, they might be able to beat that. So let's just say a week. We don't know. And then of course installation will be a little bit, but that Cole sounded like he'd be ready to come up anytime. One more thing about it is he said it is an open source Microsoft system, so anybody can work on it. You don't have to have, a QT pod guy come out or whatever. If there is a problem with it, anybody can come work on it that knows how to run a computer.
I think that'll eliminate the problem we have with, between our treasurer and getting fuel prices changed. That
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One
fuel
second,
calculating
Dwayne.
system,
That's always been a
it's
hassle.
always been hard to work with, so I think that'll make a big improvement.
Yep, and that's part of what that $1,200 a year is the software. It's a cloud-based. You log in and change the price from anywhere.
And we'll have to change the price on the pump, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Question, and I should know this probably, do we have to wait till the normal loan and grant meeting to get a loan from aeronautics?
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Dwight, did you have something to say?
Yes, Adam, on the, this is Dwight Thompson, the airport manager for the record. On the QT pod, the 1200, you and Seth probably would be the experts on this, the credit card certification or whatever you call that the credit cards are secure. Would that be part of the $1,200 a month?
A year.
$1,200 a year, I believe so. You're talking about PCI compliance. I
Yes,
don't,
that's the word I was looking for.
I don't suspect that's an issue. I did not discuss that directly about PCI compliance, but he did say that it's secure via the swipe method. Fuel Master is not, apparently. So, and then also the Petrovend is also secure. So I don't have the exact answer for PCI, but it doesn't worry me.
Okay, good.
Okay, the second one was Petrovend, which is also very standard in the industry. It was 33,000, I believe, if that's what I recall from the email.
33, 34,
It was,
something like
yeah,
that.
it was $9,000 more
Okay.
installed. That's equipment and installation installed by the same company, Energy Systems. That one is about 4 to 6 weeks out. Cole tried to get an updated quote and an updated lead time, and he wasn't able to get a hold of the company, which speaks volumes, in my opinion. I don't know as much. They weren't able to say what the subscription upkeep was, so that's still up in the air. It is also a cellular deal, so you'd be $480 a year to connect it. I don't think it has the point-to-point option. What else about the Petrovend? I don't recall much else about it.
Wasn't really that different than,
Yeah.
other than the cost.
Adam, I have a question for Ben.
Yes, sir.
So would that include the new pump or the new hose and pump reader or the meter itself, or is the same thing as the credit card reader only?
I think it's a credit card reader only,
Okay.
although I wish Cole would call in here, but I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure it's the same system, same type of system.
Okay. You probably noticed this morning when you were getting gas for that guy that the pump digital readout has got some little display hiccups there, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, the display on the gallons readout is
Yeah.
partially working. Yeah, I noticed that as well.
I don't think that's a big thing, but
Is there an option
That's-
for either one of these to get a new reader? Like, I'm in the opinion that if we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Exactly.
We don't need to be, I even go back to the Wi-Fi versus cellular. Like, initially I'm thinking, well, if the Wi-Fi works great with the cameras, but potentially can have a problem, here we are again having a problem. Where if cellular, they're guaranteeing that there's little to no hiccup with that. I just hate to, okay, we're going to put this new system in, we're going to go Wi-Fi. Then we have an issue, so then we got to switch to cellular. Now we have an issue with the reader and the dial. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but like every little thing is causing doubt to the public that our system is not okay.
Yeah.
I'm on board with let's do it. If we have to replace the components, let's replace the components and figure out how we can do this. But
Work smarter, not harder.
exactly.
I was under the impression, at least with the QT pods, because I think that's what Cody's got at Three Forks, if I remember correctly. And, because it looks like the same thing when I saw the picture. And that has a thing that gives you the number of gallons you're delivering in addition to doing your credit card. So, I mean, it's all, part of that tower. So there wasn't a separate, thing that was reading that was not part of the tower. We can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure the QT Pods has that integrated into it when you're, pumping the gas.
I'm not ignoring you. I've got an email from Cole here. I'm trying to get him to call in.
Just look at it.
I just would like to see, you know,
Yeah.
a little more confirmation than that, because if now we're having an issue with that, like, we know how this is gonna go.
Let me just try to call him. Oh my God.
Jess, this Dwight again. I agree with you as far as updating the whole system.
You have to dial.
We're getting a new airport and a new fuel
Hold the door
system.
open in front of you.
The cost issue was just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here we are getting a brand new airport, new ramp, new runway,
There's a drawer in front of you there. that
and we're
you
still
have-
gonna have
And an
a,
old
yeah,
rotary phone.
yeah. It can only go for so long.
But in addition to that, it's every time that Dwight gets a call, it's another trip out for him to look at it. And so
Exactly, yeah,
you're also hedging against that,
yeah, yeah.
or anyone to have to drive out.
And
And
I
if-
mean, really, it's probably a great time.
And if they're responsible for the cellular, I would think that they'd have a Wi-Fi backup because it kind of runs along the same ways.
Yeah,
So, but if they're responsible for the cellular, then their technician would be also responsible for that part of the system, in theory. Which would be probably part of your $1,200 a year.
yeah, subscription.
I'm like the worst guy to have do this.
All thumbs.
It's confusing.
And that one's
Well, just a comment on the fuel system now. I've had the
Hey,
repair
Cole,
order
it's
for
Adam,
over a week.
Downson
and
Airport.
haven't heard anything back yet from the guy using. He was supposed to come out this week. And
Oh, sorry.
I have not heard back from him, but
Okay, give me 1 second.
Hold on, Dwight, we're trying to get Cole on the
Do I got you on
speakerphone.
speaker?
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No worries.
The speaker button is lit up. Can I hang up or no?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Should be. He can't call in on that number, yeah. He's having trouble calling in.
We got you, Cole?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wonderful.
Great.
Thanks
Got
for,
me.
thanks for your time.
Sorry, I tried calling in around 1 o'clock, but it just kept giving me this prompt asking me for an extension.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. Who knows?
Oh, good.
So, anyway, we have the full board here and commissioners, and we just have, we're just going through the different options, basically the two options of QT pods and Petrovend. And anyway, as questions come up, we were going to grill you a little bit. The current question
Sure.
right now is on the Petrovend. Is that simply replacing the Fuel Master tower and we keep the pump and all that stuff same as QT pod?
Yeah. Yep, they're both the same idea.
So one question is, we have a display problem on our pump. It's hard to read the gallons because the display isn't working properly. Is there an option
On the pump or on the fuel management system?
on the pump itself?
Okay.
Do these towers read out gallons, or is there an option to replace the whole thing? Or what's our best course there?
Well, I mean, it all depends on how you're billing it out, I believe. So, if they're, getting receipts, that'll show the gallons on it and everything. But if they need to see it on the meter, I'd have to look, and I can't remember what you've got there. We can get a new digital readout if you want. We could probably get a pulsar with a digital readout and just get you a new pulsar. They're not too much in price difference. It might be worth doing that. But other than that, I mean, we can correct that if you need it, but it should be on the receipt.
Okay, so I guess the question is, are we going the right route here with just getting a card reader tower and not and then fixing that screen separate, or is there a better option where we replace the whole thing and it's all contained in one unit?
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of options. It depends on, the budget, if you guys are able to get some funding for it. But, you can always get a new fuel skid, everything new, self-contained, and ready to go. There are those. But
But I mean, it really comes down on what you're trying to spend. We can get a new fuel management system and just swap the head out, and you can go back to selling fuel as long as your pumps are pumping. You'd be just fine to keep going that way, or it really depends on what your needs are. If I remember right, you guys weren't even 500 gallons a month or anything like that, right?
Oh, I think we're
Yeah, about 1,000 gallons a month.
1,000 gallons a month. Yeah.
Ish.
I mean, yeah. I would. I mean, the budget version is just swapping the unit out, and putting a QT pod in.
So to get a whole new,
And-
what you called a skid, I would imagine is a considerably different price point than what we're talking about.
Oh yeah. It's a new tank and everything's self-contained on a platform that's attached to the tank, and we just run the electrical over to it, put crash protection around it. It's what a new airport or a well-funded one would do. But I mean, if you guys have what you have is working and you're just trying to track fuel and sell fuel, then I would just do that. Just swap the head.
Well, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't consider getting a new tank. I think our tank is fine, but we just don't want to look back a year from now when we're having trouble with our fuel pump display, for example, and say, gosh, I wish we'd have done something different, but you don't see
Well, do you need it? I can't remember what you have. I haven't. Let me see if you sent me. Have you sent me photos recently?
I sent you a picture. I might be able to read the label if that helps
Yeah.
you.
Let me look.
Pump Measure Control Inc. Does that help anything?
I don't think I have. No, I think I might have photos of your site, possibly. Let me check to see if somebody did a site.
What would that cost be?
I can't remember
What's
the
the
photos.
difference? I guess if he was going to go with the designer, the Mercedes-Benz system kind of thing.
What was that question for me? I couldn't hear it.
Well, yeah, I guess if we could, I don't know if you can get a ballpark or off the top of your head price on the difference. But let's nail down first what we're after, because we're not talking about a new pump, new tank.
Yeah.
And our pumps.
Oh, you're talking well over $100,000.
I talked over the top of you. You said over $100,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, way over. You're probably going to want a 10,000 gallon tank, and you guys don't even take that much fuel.
What about a
But I
system
guess,
that attaches to the tank?
that's what most airports are doing. 5 to 10,000 gallon tanks with everything on self-contained. It's called an all-in-one turnkey unit. And they're putting QT pods on them or PV300Es.
Is that the Petro vendor?
As far as a meter face and all that, I mean, if it's important for the customer to see the digital display, I have to look and see, but QT pod might be able to display what's been dispensed on the screen. I haven't played with them in a long time. I could look into that for you, but as far as the meter showing it, that's not very expensive. Probably get a whole new meter on that for the size of the piping and everything for, I don't know, maybe a few $100 for a new readout. Depends on what's on there currently.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and I don't have any photos of the site anymore. That was when I was with the other company.
this is Rob Bargatze. I just want to ask, the system you're talking about, the Q-Pods, is the M4000 system, is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. And as you were saying before, actually, as you're pumping, can't you actually see the number of gallons pumped on that screen?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah.
I have to check. It's been so long since I've done anything with QT Pod. I'm pretty sure that you can. I just have to double check with my technicians because I don't do the install.
I've used them recently, and I'm almost positive you can. However, it's a small screen. It's not like you're going to stand at the airplane and see it,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
which
Right.
may not matter.
Yeah. And then,
I mean, they'll see it on the receipt too. I mean, do they need to know? I guess some people would like to know when how many gallons they're at and stop early. I guess that would be important for an airplane, huh?
It would be important for weight. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. We can do a readout. I mean, I just would need photos again, and I can re-quote everything, just get you set up how for your concerns. What I did was I just reset you the QT pod quote that I looked up for you a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I remember right, there might have been issues with the conduit to the unit. It might have been old, and there might have been problems with the wiring, which might be causing issues with the head unit itself. So that might be something you guys might want to do, run some new conduit. And it has to be explosion proof, which is difficult and kind of cheap to do. We can do it if you need, but it might be a good idea to get new power out there, and then make sure that it's on its own circuit. And
It is on its own circuit.
15 amps.
It is on its own circuit.
Okay, cool. Yep. So that was if I remember right, a concern was clean power. But if you've got that, then I would just swap the QT pod out, and we could change the meter and pulser to one that has a digital display on it.
Would it do you any good if I sent you a picture of our pump unit
Yeah,
right
go
now?
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Is your cell phone the 850 number?
Yep.
Okay.
And the other question that had come up slightly earlier, this is Rob Bergatzi again. We were wondering, does that $1,200 a year subscription service include any repairs, or is that an additional cost on an annual basis?
No, that's all. That's not even through us. That's through QT pod.
Okay.
And this is Bob Hollister. Does QT Pod do the billing of the credit cards, or do we have to have a different outfit for that?
That's what that system is. The $1,200 a month, I believe, gives you access to the fuel management system, which has all of the who spent what, all of the account information in it. Okay, so let's see what meter has.
And that's PCI compliant, I would assume.
The QT pod?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying they are, so
Okay.
I'll have to go with that. Okay, I see what you're talking about, the display itself on that. Shoot. Might be able to do something. I could tap into that system. I'd have to talk to my technician and kind of bolt something on outside of that, but I don't know about, I'd have to find out and see if we could replace that meter and even get the parts for that. So that would require a service call for me to figure that one out. I'd have to send a guy out there. He would have to let me know if we can get the parts for it, or if he can do it.
Okay, but your feeling is it's probably better to go that route than replacing that with some combined system?
Well, replacing it, for one with just a simple digital readout on it, they're around $11,000 for something like that. For a whole new pump and everything. So I could look. I'd have to see. Stillrec has some options that are cheaper. Paiute has some options that are cheaper. Our main concern with compliance is all in the QT pod. That solves all of your, most of your compliance stuff. But
So the
as far
11,
as, meter heads and stuff go, I'd have to do a little digging and see what we can do, if we can repair that at all.
so the $11,000 meter head would still be separate from the fuel management system?
Yeah, we could go with the. So Wayne makes a dispenser that has the Dover system in it, which is basically the Petrovent. I could see if they have a dispenser with the Petrovent built into it that would work for aviation. And then if that's the case, you could just buy an all-in-one unit. That would be a totally different quote. But the two options would be something like that, or we just come out, take a look, and see if we can repair or replace parts in that meter head and stuff like that.
Okay, but it's safe to assume that option would be well north of the $33,000 Petrovent?
Yeah, it probably would be around that plus the pump. Probably $30,000 or $40,000 probably. I'd have to look. I don't know off the top of my head.
You understood,
That's
yeah.
aviation. I don't do a lot of aviation these days, but I can go find out.
Okay.
So just to confirm, Dwight, if you're still there?
Dwight, do we still?
I'm sorry, I had you on mute.
Great.
Yeah, right now, the only problem you're seeing in terms of the pump head is simply the digital readout, right? The pump's working fine, there's no issue with that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. So we don't really have a pump problem, it's
No,
just a
it's the
readout.
sun, I think the sun's bleached the letters out on the wheels.
That's what I mean, yeah, it's just the digital readout's
Just parts.
just burned out in terms of too much sun.
I could see if those parts are replaceable, but I'd have to send somebody out to look at it. It's kind of an older unit, it looks like, so might be able to get some legacy parts from some of our electronics suppliers and just swap that piece out and get it working again.
Right.
And given the fact that we are currently down, is it safe to say the most expeditious route is to go with one of these standalone fuel management systems and then deal with that other separately?
Yeah, either way, you're going to have one of those units. So even if you have to replace the pump and everything later, it's not a bad deal. All it does is separate the two things from each other. I don't know if there's much savings in getting it all in one unit anyway.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of better sometimes because it's easier to get the things. So if there is a service call, it's easier and quicker for us to repair something. There's room to work, you know. Things like that.
Okay.
It might be better. Yeah, you never know. It'd have to be based on the specific equipment and whatnot, but you're not going to go the wrong direction just replacing the Fuel Master right now with the QT pod. It's more of an aviation specific product, and they're saying they're PCI compliant. So I'm more comfortable with that route. The Fuel Masters are not 100% compliant. They haven't even got me PCI approval. But they say they have the hardware for it, which that's totally different than actually being certified.
Right.
Okay, so another question for you, Cole. What is your feeling on service for these two units that we're talking about? Again, the QT pod versus the Petrovend. What is your feel on?
Yeah, so QT pod is service agnostic. You could have your maintenance guy work on it, call in, and they would walk them through stuff. Or you could call us or anybody else to come fix it. So, right now, the competitors really don't have very many service people available for the whole state of Montana. I think there's the one I used to work for has maybe 2 people now. So, we have a lot of technicians. There's another competitor that has a couple. So QT pod being agnostic, you could call anybody. But the Petrovend, we're the only certified replacements and repair people for warranty or even sales.
And when you say we, you mean Energy Systems?
Energy Systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a warranty that comes with this?
Yeah, I could take a look and see what the warranties are on the QT pods. I think the Petrovend has a better warranty on it, but I don't. QT pods are pretty reliable. I can find out the warranty details if you need that. Usually things come with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty. But I double check on that.
Okay.
And I can shoot that to you in an email when I get an answer from Mark.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions for Cole?
If it was my choice, just my opinion, I'd go with the QT pod.
Yeah, and you had sent an email.
Agnostic side.
Yeah, an email to that effect, that was your feel that it would be a better fit for us, which is valuable advice for us.
Realistically, you're looking at 6 weeks. Maybe we're lucky. I still haven't even got the quote back from the Petrovend guy. So, who knows how long it would take them to get the equipment. The QT pod, they're swearing they could get it to us in a few days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said when I talked to them.
Now, we're gonna be down for a couple months, so, with the rest of the airport, so.
Yeah. My feeling is most airports go with QT pod. The Petrovans is more expensive. It's a great system. It'll do everything you want it to do as well. You really can't go wrong with either decision, but if you want to get up and running sooner, I can get the equipment quicker with QT pod.
Okay. Does anybody else have any further questions? I think we'll let Cole go, and then we'll start talking money. Any more questions for Cole?
If you guys want quote for anything else, come up with what you'd like to see, and then shoot me an email, and I'll get stuff put together for you. But as far as parts of the meter, just want to reiterate I'd have to send somebody out there, so there would be a service call. I think we're $118 an hour, something like that. So he'd go out, take a look at it, look inside, see if he can get the parts, and come back out if it can be repaired.
Okay. Jess, does that answer your question about redoing the right thing? I think, Cole, to just restate what you've said is there's not a lot of advantage to replacing them both into one system. In fact, there might be advantages to keeping them separate.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to call me. I'm just sitting here working at my desk.
You got an email address for him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great. Well, we sure appreciate your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries.
Thanks a lot.
We'll talk with you
Thank you.
shortly. Okay, bye.
Adam, sorry, Mr. Chairman, do you have his last name? His last name.
Armstrong.
Thanks.
Well, I think our path forward is becoming fairly clear. So, or I don't want to speak for everybody. I mean, it seems to me that the clear choice is QT pod.
I feel the same way,
I agree.
Yeah.
but I am curious, can we get some kind of a loan from Aeronautics middle of the year here?
Well, that'll be the next part of the discussion, I think. Okay, so assuming we are going that direction, we need $24,000. We do have that money.
Plus some installation?
That includes installation.
Okay.
And your 1,200, I mean,
your
25,200.
Yeah, it might be, well, plus we have put a little pump repair there, whatever.
Yeah, who knows? There might be, some variance.
Quite
there.
possibly, it could be 28 grand.
Yeah, I think we better figure it out.
The safe
outside
assumption. Base.
That's probably safe to over budget for that. Regarding how we're going to fund it, so given that it's time sensitive, if there's an opportunity to get Montana Aeronautics money, I think that ought to be in the form of a reimbursement, so we can get going now, is my feel. Now, the commissioner can probably speak better to, the money side of it, but the money is there in the account, and I don't say that flippantly. We want to be good stewards of it, but that is what it's for, and we're either going to sell fuel or we're not.
Well, my thought was if we could get the loan from Montana Aeronautics, it's at a pretty reasonable rate. And we could keep our funds here, because them funds can be used on either airport, our funds. We get money from Aeronautics. It has to be specific to one airport or the other. As far as grants and loans.
Yeah, it's just an interesting deal, because if we sell 10,000 gallons, that's $5,000 of gross margin. I mean, this
Takes you
isn't exactly
4
a
turns of your product
scheme here.
to pay for it.
I'm sorry.
It takes you 4.5 turns of your product to pay for it. So you have to sell 40,000, say ballpark 50,000 with all the addition. And how many gallons do we sell?
about 10,000 now.
10
That's-
to
year.
12,000 a
That's
year.
low because we've become so unreliable,
Yeah.
but at that rate, that's a 5-year ROI on this
Yeah.
one item.
Well, we're either gonna choose to have fuel or we're gonna choose not to have fuel. And this is kind of the point where you do it.
Yep.
And so with it being a growth airport and you wanna have hangars and hangar spaces and everything else, that's kind of, in my viewpoint, a necessary evil. We're gonna have to bite the bullet, but that's just my viewpoint.
Should I mention the thing I was talking to you about? The increase,
The what?
price increase?
Sure, yeah.
I was contemplating this and I bounced it off of Adam. Due to the fact that we got the additional outlay of money, not only the price of the equipment, but the $1,200 a year, I think we need to be bumping the fuel price up a quarter, or maybe 35, 50 cents, whatever. Something, we need to be covering our expenses.
Well, maybe we can cover it by selling more fuel.
Yep.
mean,
That's a
I mean-
possibility. We can always drop it back down.
In my business, I've found that if I keep my rates at a reasonable to what the big box stores are in competition, that I'll turn my stuff faster and actually have a better
Well,
outcome in the
I
end.
think you're gonna need to keep it lower initially to get people to come back.
I
Otherwise,
think-
they're not gonna,
Could
if
be.
you're higher, they're definitely not gonna come.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
you've
can't
gotta
get
put
it-
it lower to get them to come back, to know that the system is working. and go
Double-edged
from
sword.
there. Not that I'm not thinking down the road when you've gotten that, faithfulness back, then you can start to maybe try and up it a little bit instead of having the 80 cents or whatever the increase is. We could go to $1 or something like that and just, above what we buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right
Yeah, it
now we
doesn't-
have
That's down the road, I think, but
right now we have no money coming in, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
That's
and I
So
think Seth's right. He makes a good point. Like we have a growing airport, we have a
If-
new runway
yeah,
coming
if-
in, we have hangar
it's a
spots.
growing pain. It's like, I put 2 new heating systems in my building last 2 years ago, a year and a half ago at $40,000. So, it'll pay off eventually. It's just hard to see it.
But if it works, it's not really an evil.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, and that's the
necessary
other thing,
and-
like,
and
is
money.
if it
Cost of
frees up,
business.
if it frees up Dwight's time, I mean, how many hours a month does Dwight have to mess with the fuel system in lieu of doing something else?
Well, I'll just say it doesn't fundamentally change the conversation. We're still gonna try to buy low and we're still gonna try to sell at the best price we can while still being competitive with the surrounding area.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is that simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think just to get to the point of what we're here for, I think we have to make a decision about buying a system. And we can talk about everything downstream after we've actually bought a system, find out what it costs. Then we can adjust anything that we need to in terms of fuel costs. Because I think until we know what the total cost of the system is, we don't know what we're trying to repay. I think the other thing is to basically say, let's move ahead and buy the system. Let's talk to aeronautics, but let's get the system on the way, because we're going to be shut down here pretty shortly.
Yeah, about
And
3
so
weeks.
we want to sell as much fuel as we can before we shut down, so that we don't have a bunch of fuel sitting around
Fire
that
sale.
time's out. So I think let's just focus on really getting the purchase done, getting it installed.
Yeah, and we have about 8,000 gallons of fuel in there now.
Yeah.
We gotta get that down to 5,000 so we can buy even a half load.
Exactly.
And we're gonna end up with a bunch of expensive lawnmower fuel.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Adam,
So-
I did meet this afternoon with Bill Drocky, our CAO, and Debbie Kelly very quickly. We've got the money in it. We can make it work. So far, as of second quarter, you've only spent 25% of your budget.
Mhm.
So there's some room in there.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Good.
he and Debbie were both comfortable. We'll make it work.
So in other words, you guys are comfortable if we were to go ahead and buy it, and then if we can go back for a grant or something, great, but otherwise, I mean, we have to, of course, plan that we won't get any money back.
Right.
And that's, you guys are comfortable with that?
Obviously. But they were both comfortable with it.
Okay.
Kind of the ballpark, we said it was, because I think the quote was 24,000, so 28, 30,000, nobody's going to have an issue with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm all for it.
I'll move that
The
we
worst
do it.
decision's no decision, so.
I move that we buy the Q2 system.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to buy the QT system, 24,000 plus unexpected expenses. We have a second. Further discussion.
Adam,
Adam, it's Dwight. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And this seems kind of like a small item, but in doing my research, I see they make a kind of a nice cover for that.
Oh, weather
To
cover.
weather cover. Probably not going to cost a lot of money, but protects this investment.
Yes, it
So I think
does.
we should talk to them about that when we get our final quote.
Maybe Dwight can sweet talk him into throwing it in.
Maybe. Anyway, just what I told that.
Yeah, if it's a system, it's a 3/4, it comes with a cover,
Yeah.
that, is Velcro, and you just open
Yep.
the thing up.
I've used them lots of times.
Yeah, right, yep.
You'll recall I was talking to the guy in Green River, Utah, with the fuel master, and he was cussing the fuel master, and he says, "Man, I've been trying to get these people to get us a QT pod," which is what he said. So I thought that was interesting.
Adam, if I could, I would just request that you say up to 28,000 or 30,000.
Okay.
Just so, and if it's more, we can figure it out, but just for the motion.
Okay, I will change that motion up to 30,000 for the QT pod.
And the second still holds.
Okay, so the motion is to purchase the QT pod and installation up to $30,000. And we have a second. Further discussion.
I guess to go along with the protector, obviously he mentioned the conduit. I'd like that looked at, like if that needs to be replaced in the quote. And if we could get the readout thing, I find that it would be valuable. I don't think the whole system needs to be, but for a couple $100, if that dial can get fixed, I think that would be something to add
I think
in
it
there.
needs to be done. As
know.
far as the conduit goes, it's all integral there. There should not be a problem, one with that. It's just going from the pump up to the fuel master at this time. They'll take the lock nut loose and pull the fuel master off, and the wires and everything be there. They'll may have to take and shorten a piece of pipe up going to the seal off, put in something on the other side of that, a shorter nipple or whatever for the QT pod. So everything should be right there.
And on those lines, in my conversations with Cole, he did say, if you guys want to put in the work, we need to dig a line or conduit or whatever, he says, we can do it, but it's probably cheaper for you guys to do it yourselves. I mean, it's digging a trench and laying a pipe, which we have done.
Yeah.
So there might be an opportunity to save a few bucks.
And then I guess, do we want to have a short conversation in the discussion on the motion with the Wi-Fi versus cellular?
Yes.
So that when you give them the go-ahead, they know which way to go with that, I
Yeah.
guess.
Dwight, did I cut you off? Were you going to say something?
Thanks, Adam. I'm sorry, I can't hear everybody, but I just wanted to clarify Montana Aeronautics. They have already made their decisions for this year. The next time that we can apply is November with them reporting back next February whether or not they can help fund us. So but this year has already been taken care of.
Okay, good to know. So that just reiterates the point, we have to be prepared to spend the money, and if we can get it back 6 months from now, great. But here we are.
Well, it would be a year from now from Aeronautics.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then, is Commissioner Randolph there?
Yes.
I couldn't hear her. The other question I had was there. This is an emergency thing for us on the airport side. Is there anything from the county that they could lend us or help out?
I don't think so right now.
I'm getting a negative, and I don't know that it's relevant or necessary. Would you agree?
Okay.
I'm hoping that that the motion was up to 30,000, you're gonna cover up your wish list.
Yes.
If it gets over that, we'll absolutely talk.
So if you didn't hear, she's confident that our airport money can support it.
And down the road, we'll have to see if we can't, find the money for them dust pods we were looking at for Canyon Ferry.
Mhm.
That's what I was trying to see if we, but we can't get the loan, so.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
So just to be clear, this was up to $30,000, which can and may include the conduit is the digital reader and the Wi-Fi cellular. Is that correct?
And the weather protector?
And the weather protector.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we're just going up to 30,000 home data. I think
Total
it's standard.
expenses.
Okay, got
Yep.
it. Then that's how the motion will read then, okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Should be total turnkey.
Okay.
Okay, I will contact Cole and tell him our decision and tell him to get the stuff coming. I'm sure we'll have a contract to sign. I may have to.
Do you wanna
Get
call, city services first?
Yes.
See if we can,
Who wants the pleasure of that?
see if.
I talk to city service pretty regular. I go.
Yeah, see if.
They're easy to work with.
If they can, get that cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will do that. Good call, Bob. Thank you. I suspect we're either going to go with Energy Systems or direct. So it's my feeling that that's not going to happen. But we'll certainly give it a try.
Mhm.
Okay, any other business?
I got one thing. I'm just kind of thinking about our airport project and the comment that were made. After our project is completed out there, for us to start thinking about maybe our next meeting, discussing how we want to do maybe like a new grand opening type of deal. Kind of showcase our new fuel system, kind of we may get some confidence back that maybe was lost, so.
Fly in.
Yeah, we can do an aviation,
Yeah, you know, kind of do maybe a little fly-in, get some people to fly up and stuff like that.
I think it's
So,
an excellent idea.
yeah, we got some time to think about it, but I just kind of want to plant that seed for everybody. And
Hype it up in Bozeman,
Yeah.
hype it up in Helena, and
Sure.
Will you put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Dwight, were you able to hear Daryl?
No, I wasn't.
So he was just saying, you know, when we get the big project completed, fuel systems in place, everything's shiny, brand new with a big apron, we might have some kind of open house, fly-in, grand opening, reopening, something to that effect.
That'd be fine.
Would that be relevant to what you were talking about with the Backcountry Association? And I apologize, I wasn't able to look at your.
I think that's something totally different because I think that's going to be sponsored by Aeronautics Safety Bureau with Matt Lindbergh.
Okay, so we'll keep that conversation separate. Okay.
We can certainly do some sort of notification through Montana Pilots Association. That's probably the largest organization in the state that's, get
Yeah.
the word out through them.
Yep, and
We
you can put it in
we
that newsletter. Isn't it Montana Aeronautics newsletter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
Reaches a lot of people.
exactly.
Yep, and that just goes through aeronautics.
Yep.
We get a date set at the next meeting, and then we notify them. They'll put it in the.
Are there restrictions on, like, if you did a fly-in of having, like, a group come in and, like, have breakfast, for example? Like, they could come and do that as a fundraiser? Is it restricted on the airport by any means?
I don't
Gosh, you
know.
think it'd be fine to do some kind of
wouldn't think
pancake
so.
breakfast fly-in?
No,
something
like, if, I know, like,
I mean, they
that
do it at
Selby's
the-
used to
at the
do it,
fair.
but, like, if there was a 4-H group or something that's looking for a fundraiser, you could say, hey,
That's a good idea.
you know, we're gonna do this flying, then it kind of relieves it off of us, but away, is that, there's nothing that
Not that
prohibits
I know,
that.
of. Just get a permit, nonprofit get a permit with
Mhm.
our sanitarian for the food. That's super easy.
I think 4-H likes money, so that's good.
Yeah.
Always do. I don't know. I was just thinking, just to kind of entice the flying thing a little bit more, but
That'd be fun.
Yeah, fire departments are good at those things too. They do them
yeah,
all
the
the time,
pancake
so.
things. I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of hard because you're out there and not in a actual facility, which is Solmey's was always nice because you had that.
Just need to avoid blowing the circuit breakers.
Yeah, right.
Well, that Ferris wheel's gonna take a lot of power, so. Okay, any other new business? Thank you, everyone. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.